The same administration that wants to take all of our guns and limit the amount of rounds we can have in a magazine and limit the types of rubber or plastics that are on the back end of a gun have left a lot of equipment overseas for terrorists and sworn enemies of the country. You want to know how much and what they left? Well, I'll give you a really good idea. Just stick by and watch this episode of Guns and Gadgets. Today's episode is brought to us by KAK Industry. KAK is a high-volume, precision machine shop that produces over 500,000 components a month. You might know them as the exclusive distributor for the Shockwave Blade pistol stabilizer. KAK also sells everything but the lower regarding AR builds, including the tools and parts you need. Now, when I mention lower, I mean the serialized transferable lower. If you want 80% lowers, they have those too. And if you order now, all 80% lowers and 9mm bolt carrier groups are currently 15% off until supplies run out. Also down below, I'll have a coupon code for you, GunsandGadgets10. You can save 10% off of your entire order. Just head on down to kakindustry.you-know-what. I want to thank KAK for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get into the craziness that is going around today. But before I start with this list of items that will drive you insane, because we paid for this, I wanted to bring to your attention a thought provoker that I put up on my social media last night, and it's this picture here. Now, this picture is actually an old picture, and it brings to question, I guess, a permission slip for people to exercise their rights for the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, before I get into that, I want to say that last night I learned a lot regarding the Pledge of Allegiance. The current version, as you know it, it was written by a socialist. Didn't know that. The previous version, the original version, was written by an army soldier, a Union Army soldier in the Civil War, during the Civil War. Didn't know that either. And from the comments, which was awesome, I loved this discussion that went on in the comments, which is why I'm bringing it on today's video. I want you to think about this. The Pledge of Allegiance. What does it mean to you? Write your comment down below. Did you say it? Do you like it? Would you recommend kids saying it? And I asked that because I'll just tell you how I perceived the Pledge of Allegiance growing up. I grew up in the projects, single-parent family, a lot of crime and drugs in the area. And for me, saying that Pledge of Allegiance was an act of patriotism. To me, I was proud to say that I would fight for that flag, but that's what it meant for me. I didn't know any of the socialism stuff back then, and that Pledge of Allegiance, believe it or not, led to me joining the United States Navy and then ultimately serving my communities locally for 25 years. So that's what the pledge meant to me, and I didn't know anything that I learned last night, so I want to see what you guys and gals think about the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't think you need a permission slip to exercise your rights. When I was younger saying it, if you didn't want to say it, you didn't say it. You didn't need a permission slip. If you didn't want to stand, you didn't stand, whether it was a religious belief or whatever. But it was a lot of good conversation, and I want to hear what you guys think about it, because I know a lot of people don't follow the social medias. This is the Pledge of Allegiance. I didn't know what I know now. It's interesting. Let's go now to this debacle over in Afghanistan by this Biden administration. I will say that I did a lot of research last night. I think I got 2 hours of sleep because I was reading all of these military documents. Specifically, this report here. This is the quarterly report from the Special Inspector General for Afghan Reconstruction. And this, guys and gals, like I was just furious with the amount of money we spend quarterly overseas for this war / occupation, babysitting, however you want to put it. There's guys and gals, believe me, if you want to be educated on what's really going on, where your tax dollars are spent and how they're spent overseas for this operation, read this report. It's 214 pages, but there's a lot of information in here. Which brought me to the areas of the equipment. First thing I'll show you here is Table 2.8, and as you can see, Table 2.8 lists the highest cost items of equipment provided to the Afghan National Army this quarter alone, April 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2021, just in a 4-month period, which includes 6 A-29 light attack aircraft valued at more than $133 million, 174 Humvees valued at $41.5 million, and 9,696 2.75-inch high explosive rockets valued at roughly $18.4 million. But there's more. This is the actual table. Look at this stuff, guys and gals. And again, this is only the 10 highest value equipment items. There is a lot more that were given to the ANA for this quarter alone. Look at this. 40 millimeter high explosive rounds. That's the 40 millimeter grenades. 60,840 of those just for this quarter at $75 a pop for $4.5 million. Uniforms. Of course, we have to outfit these folks over there. They're going to become a real military. 88,709 shirts of various sizes at $41 for $3.5 million total. Ammo, 50 cal. 50 caliber cartridges. The same 50 cal that Biden and his cronies want to ban in this country. You can't have it. We're going to give it to everybody in Afghanistan, including the Taliban now. 884,880 rounds of 50 cal. How about some transmissions? 304 of those for a total of $2.5 million. Parts, some diesel engines. We'll give them 84 of those for all the equipment they have to do swap outs. $3 million. How about some 7.62 AK rounds? 7.62 by 39. The same one that Joe Biden wants to ban here in America. We gave the ANA over 2 million rounds of it at 75 cents a pop. Wow, 75 cents a pop's high. But $1.5 million. Maybe that's why, the $20 hammers the U.S. Military purchases. Some more ammo, 5.56 blank training cartridges. 4.75 million rounds. We can't find that stuff here. 22 cents a pop, over $1 million. Just what I mentioned. Just those top 10 items, as you can see, is over $212.25 million. Are you frustrated yet? Hold on to your seats and your hats because it gets worse here. And I'm just going to scratch the surface of this report. All of the items I mentioned, keep in mind, including everything else I'm going to mention here going forward, keep in mind that's just the article. That doesn't include training associated with it, etc. I mean, and maintenance and mechanics and training them. Let's go to the next one. The Afghan Air Force. Yes, we're training the Afghan Air Force and we're equipping them. Well, we've given them 26 of these. This is the A-29 fixed-wing aircraft. We've given them 10 AC-208s. We've given them 24 C-208s and 4 C-130s. And that's not all. 56 of the MiG-17s helicopters, and they're transitioning away from those. 60 MD-530s, as you can see here, and 53 UH-60 Blackhawks. That's not all. How about the Afghan National Police? Yes, we're equipping them as well. Again, we're going to give the ANP some ammo. This is nothing to do with the ammo I mentioned earlier. This is just for the ANP. And we gave them over 11.25 million rounds of 7.62-39 for a total cost of about $8.5 million. Just this quarter. 72,856 40 mil grenades for $5 million. 384 linked 50 cal rounds for $1.2 million. Now, I know that a lot of this is part of war. I get it, but a lot of people want to know what this government left behind, and that's why I'm doing this video. But wait, there's more. How about this? 358,530 rifles. What does that include? Well, it includes M16s, M4s, AK-47s, and some Dragunov. I wish I had some of those. Some Dragunov snipers. 358,530 of those. Left behind. How about 126,295 M9s or Glock 19s? How about 64,363 machine guns? Let's give them some grenade launchers. How about 25,327 of them? How about 12,692 shotguns? How about 9,877 RPGs and SPGs? How about 2,606 60 millimeter, 82 millimeter, and 122 millimeter howitzers? How about we give them howitzers? That's the 600,000 weapons that people are talking about in the news if you're paying attention. There's more. As you can see, this was from 2006 to 16 what they had. How about electronic countermeasure devices to the tune of 13,265 of them? Mine detectors, 13,367. How about bomb detection and disposal robots? Over 1,000 of those. How about personal protective equipment? EOD suits, over 1,100 of those. Mine rollers, X-ray systems. Let's get to the fun stuff. Night vision. 16,035 night vision devices. That includes PVS 14s and 7s, as well as ANVIS 6 and 9, 120 radio monitoring systems, 22 ground-based operational surveillance systems. Now, the 8 Scan Eagle drones, there's a lot more than the 8 as of this June 30 report. There's $177 million worth of drones that were left behind, at least 6 service balloons. And a look at some older totals here on some aircraft, helicopters, 110 of the MiG-17s and the ND-530s. How about 60 cargo or transport airplanes? You can read the rest there. Light attack airplanes and intelligence reconnaissance planes. We're not the only ones that are upset about this. On the screen here, you can see a letter to Lloyd Austin, who's the Secretary of the United States Department of Defense. And this letter says, Secretary Austin, we write with grave concern regarding the status of U.S. military equipment left behind in Afghanistan as a result of our poorly executed withdrawal from the country. As we watched the images coming out of Afghanistan as the Taliban retook the country, we were horrified to see U.S. equipment, including UH-60 Blackhawks, in the hands of the Taliban. It is unconscionable that high-tech military equipment paid for by U.S. taxpayers has fallen into the hands of the Taliban and their terrorist allies. Securing U.S. assets should have been among the top priorities for the U.S. Department of Defense prior to announcing the withdrawal from Afghanistan. We therefore request detailed information on the following. 1. A full account of military equipment provided to the Afghan armed forces in the last year. 2. All military equipment owned by either the United States or Afghan armed forces that was removed or destroyed prior to the U.S. withdrawal or is rendered inoperable without U.S. logistics personnel. 3. All U.S. military equipment that remains operational in Afghanistan. 4. A list of what military equipment has been seized by the Taliban. 5. An assessment on how long it took the Taliban to use each of the captured equipment. 6. An assessment of the likelihood that the Taliban will seek to work with Russia, Pakistan, Iran, or the People's Republic of China for training, fuel, or infrastructure necessary to utilize the equipment they do not have the capabilities to use on their own. And 7. Any efforts by the administration planned or underway to recapture or destroy equipment that remains in Afghanistan and is at high risk of being used by terrorist entities. Thank you for your prompt attention to this important matter, and this is signed by Senators Mark Rubio, James Risch, Bill Hagerty, Bill Cassidy, Tom Tillis, Tom Tuberville, Chuck Grassley, Kevin Kramer, Susan Collins, Joni Ernst, Ron Johnson, Pat Toomey, Rick Scott, Shelley Moore Capito, Mike Braun, John Hoven, John Barrasso, Richard Burr, Ben Sass, Michael Rounds, John Boozman, Deb Fisher, John Cornyn, Ted Cruz, and Roger Marshall. All right, now, there are a lot of people angry about this, including myself. I am not going to pretend that I am a military strategist or know how to account for all this equipment. Some of this equipment may have been rendered useless, like the letter says. I know a lot of folks who watch this served overseas. Thank you for your service. My hats are off to you. And I know a lot of fellow YouTubers who served over there. Perhaps they'll make comments down below and let us know a little more about these numbers, if they're realistic, if it's that high, if it's that bad, or if it's maybe not as bad. But we do know that we've seen all the videos of Taliban wearing all of our stuff. So now we have... well, the Taliban is one of the best armed military forces in the world now, thanks to you and me for spending and buying and earning. That's what we get, thanks to the Joe Biden administration. I'd love to hear your comments, guys and gals. I know it gave you 2 big topics here. One was the Pledge of Allegiance, that for the life of me, I always said it patriotically and had a sense of pride. And 2 is... what kind of equipment do they have over there now, thanks to this withdrawal and some of the numbers associated with those units. Let me know what you guys and gals think down below. I really, really want to see your replies. I think this is a good conversation piece here, in addition to the great conversation we had back and forth with some folks last night on Instagram and Facebook for the pledge. I know I have a lot on your plate, a lot to digest. I will have a link to this quarterly report that I referenced numerous times down below, as well as a link to the letter from the senators down below if you want to read them. There's a lot of stuff in that quarterly report that will make your head spin, including Taliban started taking over large portions of the country back in May. Until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry a weapon. Please consider subscribing to Guns and Gadgets if you want information on the Second Amendment. And again, remember, this is the same administration that wants to strip your Second Amendment. Well, we just gave all this stuff to the enemy. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.